Well, I'm delighted to be joined by Lee Marshallsay, who's the grounds manager at Charterhouse School. Lee, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of our time. It is weird circumstances we're in at the moment. How are you and how is your team and how's your family? Is everybody keeping clear of any issues?
Yeah, no, thank you. So, family, we're all safe and well. I live on site, so they're not far away if they need me. But we're fine in terms of the school is obviously shut to pupils on site, but the school is still very much open. The school is very much doing online teaching across sort of you could say the world because we do have international students. So we are doing lots of that. And then obviously with regards to staff, I've got limited staff in over so each day and getting on with minimal maintenance, really just keeping on top of grass cutting, make sure the greens are cut, some square work with regards to the gardens, making sure we're just ticking things over really through these strange times, because as much as it's easy to say stop, do nothing, we're working with a living plant that does need some work. And if we don't do something, it's going to be possibly more costly and it's going to take up more manpower to get it back to how it should be when we return to some kind of normality.
Well, that's the big question. I know what I've got in the front cover of the magazine that's coming out next week is, and the grass keeps growing. So, as I say, it just shows you cannot just cut everything down and stop doing anything because the job still exists. So what can you do a little bit more detail about what your day-to-day life is at the moment?
In terms of mine personally or at work? I mean, in terms
at work. I'd like to know what you do when you get home, but
I mean, it's quite boring at home, to be honest. I mean, I've got two kids, 4 and 2, who drive me and the missus probably wild, to be honest with you. So I'm glad I get out the house. But with regards to work, we've got a team of people that come in each day. We're staggering our start times, we're staggering our finish times. We've sort of got a plan of what we're going to do each day. We're cutting certain fields. My site's a 250-acre site. So, it's got various outfields, football pitches, etc. A golf course on the side of it as well. So, it's about just the plans we have in place in normality existing, but we've just reduced what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. So, we're still cutting greens every day. But when it comes to outfields, they're getting once a week, maybe twice, depending on growth. We've had a bit of rain today, but it's been quite dry up until now, so growth has slowed down. The major lawns around the school are once a week. And then when it comes to gardening, we've got very many gardens around the site, so it's trying to pick areas each day where teams can work in a safe environment, really. It's just trying to manage. It's trying to do the minimal maintenance that can keep us ticking over and get us through. We've had a couple of football pitch renovations to finish off, which we have done, and sort of that's left one person to do that. If there's a couple, it's only because of top dressing sand or something like that, and it's 2 different machines that are being used. But on the whole, it's just ticking over and keeping things at a level that we can go back to get height cut down. For example, we have raised height cut from where we usually are just to help protect it, but it's just trying to go with what's needed on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis, really.
I suppose I think I've mentioned it in the magazine as well. You're having to get used to doing essential maintenance as opposed to sensational maintenance. And does that mean there's not the same job satisfaction, or do you get the feeling that we're all got to dig in and do what we have to do at the moment?
Yeah, I think I'm very lucky. The team I've got, they've all got a sense of pride, and whatever job they do, they want to make sure it's looking good. So if we are only cutting once a week, we're making sure that things are still striped up. I think there does become that limit where you can get a bit, mundane, because you're not doing the stuff you usually. We're not preparing cricket wickets for boys and girls to be playing every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for example. We're preparing a golf course and there's no one coming out to play. And when I say preparing a golf course, we're not preparing it to the extent of changing tee positions, changing pins. We're literally just cutting greens, tees, as they are, and fairways, the rough isn't being cut every week; it's being cut every 2 to 3. So you're sort of half preparing a course where no one's going to turn up. So they're strange things to get your head around. And there's times where you really want to go, come on, we can get on with this. And you just got to have that sense of we just need to slow down. And I suppose in some ways you can just, you do the maintenance and you're taking your time probably a little bit more because you haven't got to rush around to get them things done. That's how I look at it, really. And the team have been really, really good.
Talking about the team, you as manager, do you feel an additional responsibility to ensure that these guys are kept safe and well, that they're abiding by the new regulations, the new rules that have been put in place?
Oh, I mean, definitely, but safety of our staff is paramount at all times, I think, but COVID-19 has an extra little bit to think about, really. So, what we put in place is, limited staffing each day, obviously. All staff have to wear disposable gloves, which they can have as many of them as they want, throw them away and whatever else. We've got all equipment is wiped down with like Dettol each day and after use. We've got the hand gels as well, which are on machines and which is plenty around the yard, and in the tea room and things like that. We're reducing the amount of people in the tea room at any one time. They can make tea and coffee. They've got other areas they can use. Whether they can go back to their car if they wish, or use the machine they're sitting on. Most people, if they're on a machine, will be on that machine for the whole day, or they'll be on the buggy for a whole day. So therefore, movements or of people on different machines is timed, so it's limited. So I think we've put everything in place that we can in a safer environment to make sure our staff are safe. And if they have got concerns, then obviously, we can, hopefully we've already addressed them, but if we haven't, then we need to act on them ones and try and solve them situations. But I would say very little has come back from the team. They believe they are safe. They believe they have got everything they need. They don't feel there's anything more we can do as a school. And it also comes down to a little bit of common sense, social distancing. The government has said keep 2 meters apart, and that's what we're doing. And that's the best thing we can do. And I have said to them, if you feel people are getting too close, just ask them to take a step back, and protect ourselves that little bit more.
That's what we need to be doing in the supermarkets as well.
Yeah, well, you could say, yeah, definitely.
A lot of these extraordinary measures, do you think, looking forward to the industry as a whole, any of these extraordinary measures now will be carried forward into normal practice when the dust is settled and we're through this awful period?
I mean, I think we're all going to reflect on how we probably worked before and how we're going to work moving forward. I think hand gels may be a thing that will stay, definitely. Whether disposable gloves are, because obviously work with machinery, you could be changing around a hell of a lot. But I also think maybe hand gels will. I think how we operate in terms of keeping people on certain machines, if that's able to do that, may be a possibility. And I just think the whole world is going to be a little bit different, and who knows what the new normal may be or may not be. I suppose it's one to look out for.
Now, you're not really in a position of knowing when you're going to be back full whack. You won't know when the schools are coming back. Does that create issues that you don't know? I was speaking to someone else recently, and they said their cricket, their summer and their winter sports is an overlap, so it's difficult to know when to cut your losses in one and build in the next one.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the summer term. Our third term is cricket, athletics, tennis. If the kids come back in September, we are a football school from September. There has been some talk that maybe there may be some limited cricket in September, but maybe being played on a Sunday and being played at different schools each week and have a bit of a 2020 competition. But who knows? We're saying September. Schools, as much as we might like to think they'll be back sooner or later, it all depends on what happens in the world. And this lockdown could continue. Schools may not come back until October, depending on how things are. It's who knows what's going on. I think schools will come back hopefully sooner. Hopefully they will start in September, but it is a tough one knowing what's there. And I've had a conversation with the director of sport this morning, just thinking if the schools were to come back, what is the sort of plan, and just trying to keep involved with them as much as possible to see what their thinking is, because that's a good gauge, I think, sometimes speaking to them and what's likely to be coming around the corner.
Well, Lee, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time today. I know we've got a lot of time to spare on many occasions, but it's nice to get to pin people down on occasion. So good luck going forward. I hope to keep up with you going forward. And thank you very much again, Lee. Cheers. Thank you.